Nancy. And before we go any farther, thank you so much to Gail and Bill. So those of you who haven't met Megan, Nancy's daughter yet, this is Megan. And her friend Steve. And one of Nancy's closest friends, Robin. So we have several things to do tonight, Nancy. Nancy doesn't know what we're doing. But I just wanted to start by giving you a little bit of her long history, because her short history. Those of you who know her at Hastings have only known her for 13 years. And those of you who know her from Estabrook have only known her perhaps for 23 years. But does anybody know how long Nancy's been teaching?
35.
Just call it up. 34. She's only been in Lexington for 23 years. So she had this whole life. So I just wanted to tell you what it consisted of. So she grew up on a farm outside Clarington, Ohio, and was the oldest of 5 children. That's why I'm so responsible. After graduating from Ohio University, she started teaching in 1967. Her first job, and correct me if I have any of this wrong, okay? Her first job was in Cleveland Heights, where she taught first grade in a cooperative learning classroom. She took the job because it was the highest paying job in Ohio, and her salary was, I'm taking 3 guesses, $5,300.
10,000.
10,000. Her first salary was $5,000. And then she taught first grade in inner city Cleveland for 4 months. That's all I have. I'm not like my daughter. After that, she moved to Massachusetts and was a permanent substitute in Arlington for 1 year. No, from Massachusetts. She was in Arlington altogether for 6.5 years total, including teaching for 5 years in a grade 1 through 4 multi-age classroom. Correct? It was an integrated day. And the science coordinator for Lexington, Karen McCarthy, was in her first grade class in then she took about 6 years off to be at home with Megan and Brooke. And Brooke, very sadly for us, but not sadly for her, well, sort of sadly for her. Brooke is in Paraguay, and Stu is videotaping it so that we can send it to Brooke.
Hopefully, yeah.
So then she spent 1 year as the religious education director at Fallon Church.
Fallen.
And after that, she went back to teaching in a private school called the Pike School for 4 years, where she taught 3rd, 4th, 5th, and computer. In 1989, she came to Lexington and was recruited by David Horton. Where are you, David? David Horton is the principal who hired her at Estabrook, and he's going to be speaking in a minute. And she taught 4th grade at Estabrook for 10 years. And Katie Rowe was in her 4th grade class at Estabrook. I molded her. That's all. And then in 1999, when David Horton retired, she decided she couldn't be there without him. And so she took a move to Hastings. And she's been with us for 13 years. She started out in 5th grade for 1 year. And then she took a year off and got her master's. Then she came back. She's been teaching 4th grade at Hastings ever since. Nancy Alloway. Our first two speakers are going to be her first principal and her last principal. So first we're going to hear from David Horton and then from Louise.
My background, so I won't have to do that for you. But just mentioning where I first met Nancy. I met Nancy at Bowman when she was a teacher at Alloway. I was teaching at Bowman. And we were enrolled in an EdCo workshop, sort of like open class.
A little louder, David, we can't hear you. That's your wife.
First met Nancy at Bowman School when we were enrolled in an EdCo workshop. Around the topic or focus was the open classroom. And we were working in the learning lab at Bowman. It was a very interesting time. Learning stuff that would be probably banned from school right now. No place to think about. But Margie, you talked about where's Margie?
Here.
Oh, yeah. Talked about Nancy teaching religious education at we were following or at first yeah. But remember, you and I taught the human sexuality course at First Parish. I forgot it too until it was mentioned that you're teaching religious education. You asked me to co-teach it with you.
Oh my God.
I remember being very embarrassed in the next I think about it, you remember.
I remember teaching it, I just don't remember. I took it once.
Someone else was supposed to do it and backed out, so I got drafted. Remember that? Boy, so mortified. The questions they asked.
You still know the answers.
Anyway, the theme of my little talk really is about pro-retirement. That Nancy's entering into a time of pro-retirement where we're going to be able to make choices, hopefully, about what you do with this next phase of your life. And the term wasn't pro-retirement. It's not my invention, a concoction, if you wish. I was downtown. This was like just as I was about to retire. I was downtown at Discovery Day with we had a model of the Estabrook greenhouse. We were sharing that with the public. And someone, a kid that I had known like 40 years before, who was in a class for children with severe learning disabilities. And I see him in town every once in a while, and he came over with his father, and I said, "Oh, you're so-and-so." He said, "Right." And the father asked me, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm retiring." He said, "Oh," he said, "Bruce calls it pro-retirement." He said he coined that phrase, pro-retirement. So every time I know someone who is retiring, I say, "No, you're pro-retirement." So what I just have a few things for Nancy, for your pro-retirement, and to help you with your a life of leisure and choices coming up for you. Now,
the sound of that.
one of the things that Nancy did at school is your class made pretzels, right? What was pretzel? And the other fourth grades, I forgot what one of them was selling juice or something.
Cookies.
Cookies.
And then Renee's class sold lemonade.
Lemonade, right.
A veritable store. We were all confused.
Our pretzel company was not just pretzels.
What else did you
It's called Not Just Pretzels.
Oh,
In fact, what did we sell?
Pretzels.
I bought many of them. But anyway, to remind you something. It's very hard to find pretzels that don't have a lot of saturated fat.
Ours were healthy because that's why we could outsell the cookies. We
Flo started it. Very little saturated fat in these, and not an awful lot of salt, sodium to remind you of Now, since you're going to have also time in the evening on your hands, not on your hands, but to have choices too, I thought it might be nice to have a little book with crosswords.
Oh, thank you. I always those too. Thank you very much. I'm trying to do crosswords now. I'm trying to keep my mind. Then I remind myself I've always had trouble with crosswords.
I'm wrecking the house. Well, I picked this up today too. It's burning questions answered for TV God. I don't know what bunheads on ABC Family was an advertiser. You also need some chocolate truffles to enjoy while you're watching
Oh,
TV.
thank you. I'll have to watch something other than Down syndrome.
Well, truffles is pretty so high plant.
Oh, this is thorough. This is thorough.
Did you say Jonathan?
Yeah, this is very high.
No. We should have time for other This might help you a little gardening. Now, I did buy you a plant. Not a huge plant, just a sort of token plant. And I was putting it in the car today and I dropped it.
This is not a good sign for my big
Most have blossoms or flowers or other plenty of blossoms, and I left it on your front stoop.
Oh, they're very nice.
Yeah, those are cool.
Now, since you're going to be a traveler, this is a guy from New England anyway. We'll start off in New England. A Fedors, or however it's pronounced, Fodors, guide to New England. Plan your trips around here, and I hope it's a well-worn book in no time at all.
Thank you very much.
Now, if your TV set's not working, you can always play Yahtzee. This is a book called The Greater Journey by David McCullough.
Oh,
I think
to Paris.
I did read it. This isn't my copy, but I did read it. Not your book. But I think it's a wonderful book. But it's also really a metaphor for the teaching you've done, Nancy, which was beyond the greater journey. It was more than just a job for you. It was an important, significant journey. So this book talks about the greater journey of what these people were looking for in their professions and their life, and that I think was true for you. That it was a deep commitment and a journey worth taking. And I would say that you value the journey as much as let's say coming into retirement. But you had work. No, but seriously, you had work. You had work. That was powerful and meaningful for you. And how lucky, I hope that's true with all of you too. That what you're doing has that kind of meaning and richness for you. So when you're finished, when you're in your pro-retirement, it happens, folks, it happens. You can say to yourself, I love what I do most of the time.
Been at Hastings but are not there right now. I'm finishing my 4th year there as principal, so I see myself as a newbie. And I've learned a lot from Nancy. And I was just calculating the 23 years in Lexington, so in my head I was trying to add on the other years, but if you think about approximately 20 students for 23 years, you're thinking about the lives of well over 400 children who've been touched by Nancy Alloway. That's pretty special. So currently, I'm knee-deep, elbow-deep in rewriting Lexington's report card. And if you think back to the report card of the olden days where we were all striving for A's and C's, we're kind of, we're moving away from that type of grading altogether. But I want you to think about C, and I want you to think about it in the most positive way possible, because for me, Nancy exemplifies lots of C's. First of all, she is the consummate teacher and learner. She has created a community within her classroom, and she interacts with multiple other communities. She's been an active member in what used to be called our anti-bias committee, now is called our community committee, and has brought a range of experiences to the students at Hastings well beyond what happens during the school day. One of the things is her interaction with Robin and the students from MIT that really broadens the experience of her fourth graders.
That's Amy, but that's that other
Yeah.
person. That's not that friend. That's a different. It's Amy.
Oh,
That's
okay. Sorry, Robin. So the students interact with Amy and students from MIT and learn about a school in Africa and what our students can do to support that school there, so that level of community. She's a creative person, and she supported another friend of hers, John Dacey, in his work in thinking about how children can be creative. And if you're in her classroom, she is a teacher that thinks about creativity and how to use that with her children every single day. At the end of her career, instead of kind of thinking, I'm going to just sort of finish this out and tread water, she thought about technology, so think about the C in computers, and she was the first teacher at Hastings to have a smartboard in her classroom, much to many other people's excitement and enthusiasm. She had to get up and running with a completely new technology and has made that a part of her instruction and the learning for her kids all along. And then collaboration. She works constantly with every member of our faculty, with parents, and her bringing children into the learning environment all the time and into the decision-making is a huge part of what goes on in her classroom. And finally, co-teaching, which when Susan Grubbs and Karen Moran were thinking about it several years ago, Karen and Nancy connected so that there are 2 teachers in Nancy's room during literacy, and often more than that. But the planning and the extra time that it takes to bring co-teaching to a group of children every day is just above and beyond. And so all of these C's make our colleague, Nancy Alloway, a remarkable educator. And you have taught us as much as you've taught those hundreds of children. Thank you so much.
There were 10 people who contributed to what we're about to present. Renee was so sorry that she couldn't be here, but she says we're no proud of us. Phyllis was supposed to be here. She was getting off a train and she couldn't make it. But their voices are in here because they contributed. So these are the words of Renee and Flo and Phyllis from Estabrook, and these 3 who used to work at Hastings and are now elsewhere, and Dana, who's in 5th, and you know us, and then Karen. We decided she was a 4th grade teacher. Karen is now a 4th grade teacher. So, okay, we've never practiced this. Yeah. Ready? Nancy Alloway, our teammate, thoughtful, smart, a bit frazzled at times, nurturing. She cares and works to meet all students where they are without giving up. She sees the whole child. Honest, giving, sense of humor, loyal. I picture her leaning over a table of kids, listening and suggesting. I picture her talking with students, really talking, because she knows each student so well. What they like, what they dislike, what they care about, who they were, and who they're becoming. I picture her reading aloud to her class or teaching science, maybe mucking around in the res. She makes sure that all the children are engaged in the activities and encourages them to do their best. Gives the extra mile, caring, in touch, original.
I love her willingness to share her ideas. Children painting hands, mixing paint to match their own skin color is one of the many, many examples.
Wise, welcoming to teammates and her students, compassionate.
I love Nancy's thoughtfulness and dedication to children. When I first started teaching within her classroom, I had not taught whole group lessons before. She gave me the encouragement and guidance I needed to feel confident that I can do it. Every day, I learned something new about teaching from her.
Comforting, generous, beautiful, sturdy. Nancy leads by example. She is passionate about doing right by the kids, passionate about standing up for equality and diversity, and passionate about quality teaching. Starting early on in her career, even before she came to Estabrook, she initiated an anti-bias curriculum and advocated for the appreciation of diversity. Stable, energetic, confident, flexible. At some point, we coined her nickname Mama Alloway because she was just that, wise, caring, nurturing, and loving, a listener, advisor, and mentor, knowing when to pull someone in for a hug and when to let that same person go and try it on their own. When Nancy shared her thoughts with us, everyone got quiet to listen intently to her words of wisdom. Then we often joked, "Listen to Mama Alloway." Inspiring, supportive, genuine, wonderful laugh.
What I love about Nancy is how she took me under her wing when I came to Lexington and had no idea what to expect.
She was one of the first people that welcomed me at Hastings, and she always has been a kind, loving listener who gives great advice that I need a lot. And I was so lucky to have you teach both of my children, and they'll never be the same because of it, and I love you.
Non-judgmental, just, creative, enthusiastic. In high school, Nancy was the president of the student council and was dubbed most popular in the yearbook. Surprise, inclusive, motherly, willing to listen, great work ethic. I bet she still has 206 days stored away. 215. Loving, ready to help others, accepting, truthful about her feelings.
One of the things I admire most about Nancy as a teacher is how well she knows her kids. She knows their families, their stories, and who they are as learners. She has a knack for knowing when they need the push and how to do it in a loving and trusting manner.
Even as she's been approaching retirement, she's still worked hard, joined committees, and learned new technology. Not everyone would continue to work as hard as she has over 35 years.
She works to the bone to connect with each student and pull out the best in him or her.
First she figures out what they need, then she pulls it out of them. There is no doubt that for many people on the Hastings staff, Nancy is their go-to person when they need advice or support in dealing with concerns about issues.
Establishing positive please already. Again.
I didn't ask because I wanted them to sing a song for you to hear the song. I asked because I thought they did such a great job.
They did.
And there is a chorus, and so the words that there's a part where you go, "Oh, Nancy," which means like, "Oh no, you're leaving." And then there's another part where you sing, "She may travel to Ghana, Paraguay, or a safari," and then the rest you'll figure out. And that's because those are all places that she's saying she wants to travel to when she retires. Okay, so please join on the chorus. Now, let me take this. have a low? I had to lower it for you. Yeah. She says like, starting Okay. Now let me tell you a story about a teacher named Nancy who's been teaching for 35 years. She started in Ohio, then she moved to Massachusetts and was quickly beloved by her peers. Oh, will she ever return? No, she'll never return. And her fate is still unlearned. Oh, Nancy, traveled to Ghana, Paraguay, or Safari. She's the one who'll never return. So can we try that chorus? But will she ever return? No, she'll never return. And her fate is still unlearned. Oh, Nancy, she may travel to Ghana, Paraguay, or Safari. She's the one who'll never return. She taught Arlington first graders when she moved to Massachusetts, where she labored for 6 long years. Next came daughters Brooke and Megan, feisty, strong, and independent. They had occasional tears. But will she ever return? No, she'll never return. And her fate is still unlearned. Oh, Nancy, she may travel to Ghana, Paraguay, or Safari. She's the one who'll never return. In 1989 began the Estabrook decade, crayfish, pretzels, plays, and birds of prey. Her colleagues loved her dearly, and she cherished her team members, David, Gordon, Flo, Phyllis, and Renee. But will she ever return? No, she'll never return. And her fate is still unlearned. Oh, Nancy, she may travel to Ghana, Paraguay, or Safari. She's the one who'll never return. Ray Rogers was the principal who scooped her up for Hastings when she taught 5th grade in '99. Took a year off, got her master's, and came back for 13 school years. Her 4th graders thought her mighty fine. But will she ever return? No, she'll never return. And her fate is still unlearned. Oh, Nancy, she may travel to Ghana, Paraguay, or Safari. She's the one who'll never return. As a teammate, as a teacher, as a mother, as a colleague, all her qualities together outshine. She's the one that you can talk to. She's the one who always listens, caring, loyal, and simply divine. But will she ever return? No, she'll never return. And her fate is still unlearned. Oh, Nancy, she may travel to Ghana, Paraguay, or a safari. She's the one who'll never return. She's the one who'll never return. She's the one who'll never return. Okay, next up is Joe with some magic. Yes.
In your retirement, you may want to pick up a hobby. So Marty asked me if I could show you a trick. I'm going to do it, and then we're going to do it together. I'll teach you, and I'll teach everybody here how it's done.
All right.
Okay?
That's good.
But I'll do it first.
Okay.
You know what this is?
I remember those in those days.
You know what magicians call them?
Handkerchief?
No, they call them silks.
Oh,
Yeah.
uh-oh.
Everybody say silk with me 3 times, real loud.
Silk, silk, silk.
And what the cows give us?
Milk.
No, what do they drink?
Grass.
That's true.
Don't get that close, I'm not that good. What's the silk? The silk goes in my hand. Are you watching it?
I'm trying. Yeah.
Is anybody gonna protest? Just kidding with you. Alright, we're gonna do it for real this time.
All right.
Hook the silk into our hand. That's what you're gonna do in a moment.
Okay.
Hook, hook, hook. Hook, hook, hook,
I can still
And then-
see it.
Yeah, wait a minute. Always start to shake.
Okay.
Alright?
Yeah.
And we go like that, and we go
Yeah.
that, and like that. be even louder.
It's gonna be 2 eggs, really.
Yes, it could be a whole farm. Now here's how it's done. Here's how it's done. And Nancy, I got a set for Nancy, we'll do it together. It takes 2 silks. One I keep in this pocket here, and the other one I keep inside the hollow egg. Disappointing. It works. You're just clapping. Nancy, let's see. Now you told me, I asked you earlier if you had any pockets.
Yes.
And you said, no. So we're going to have to work on
I
something.
have a little pocket.
You're going to need, for you, Nancy, I have 2 silks.
Yeah.
And let's put one in the, this can be a pocket. You can put that'll be your pocket. You can pretend you can't see it.
There's nothing there.
There's nothing there. And this is your egg.
Okay.
This is going to be your egg. Your egg. You can't see that. Now put my egg back in my pocket. Now you start with, we'll both start with a silk. All right, now you're in show business now. So you start. Now, close your other face and say, I, Nancy the Great.
I, Nancy the Great.
You'll poke the silk into my face.
You'll poke the silk into my face.
Poke, poke, poke. Now, this is the part.
Yeah.
Hold the silk. Hold the silk. Now you make a suspicious move. Alright? Put your hand in your pocket.
Because I'm making a after
Put your hand in your pocket. Put your hand in your pocket. They think this is easy. And then you go, just kidding.
Oh.
Now you pull out your egg.
Got it, got
Pull out
it.
your hollow egg. Pull out your hollow egg. You hide it.
Okay,
Pull out your hollow egg.
just.
Put the hollow egg in your hollow egg. Cover with your hand. All right?
What?
Put the hollow egg in the left hand.
I don't know how to do it. Carefully.
So they can't see it. Now you start poking the handkerchief little by little into the hole. All right? Don't let, see, it goes in the hole.
I got it, Joe.
No, wait, I'll let you pitch up. Poke in the hole.
Poking it.
It goes in, very easy. But you don't tell them you just poke it in the hole. They think you're poking it in your fist,
I
Nancy.
get it, but it's sticking out.
You can get it in the hole. Poke it all the way in.
All right.
All right? Now what you do next is you have to hold your hand, thumb over the hole, so nobody can see it when you show the egg. Then your other hand goes in your pocket with the thing. And pull it.
Hastings should follow the sun. And now the time has come, and so Nancy, you must go. And though we'll miss our friend, in the end you will know. Oh, next fall we'll find that she has gone, but she'll have no regrets now. She'll follow the sun.
touched probably over 700 kids' lives.
Just in your class.
Just in your class alone, and God knows you've touched everybody. And so it's your turn, Nancy. It's your turn to fly.
So we got you this gift, and you have to make sure that when you open it up, that you open up the actual gift, because there's stuff inside the gift, but it's to help you go wherever you go next. You now, unless you want.
Oh, I'm not sure.
No,
You can open it now.
I mean, whatever you want.
Yeah, you can.
You want me to skip the part?
Yeah.
Because people have been sitting on this thing a long time. Great job. Oh, very nice. Oh, it's, hey, this is nice because you can't back it.
So that's for your travels,
Yeah, that's
but
for your
there's
travels.
something inside that will help further.
You didn't have to.
So you have to
take
wear it
out
like a
that.
message
Yeah.
back.
And keep that all in there.
There's a lot of money.
It takes a lot of money to travel.
I'm a little flabbergasted.
Here, wait, you have a minute longer, so you look at the video.
Well, I'm out of them after your person that you currently have.
That's not so bad. You took some of that one.
Oh, yeah, so it's like a.
Exactly.
So.
And there's lots of pockets to passports and everything.
Yeah, I can put my eggs.
And this is the lesson. Sorry.
Oh, thank you very much. This is like a little.
Right? Yeah. Mark? Yeah.
This is the Lexington.
Yes, the Lexington gift.
The traditional.
The traditional.
Can you guess what's in there?
Yeah.
This isn't a chair.
No, it's not the chair. You didn't work even close to long enough. I think the chair is
You have one of just like this?
Guess what's inside?
It's from, so if you retire after
So Nancy, we didn't know whether you wanted any time to say anything. But this if you want to.
I'm going to be brief. Okay, I want to say something.
You can be as long as you want.
I'm not going to say as well as I want. I just want to say that I felt reflected back here, all that everybody here has given to me. I mean, from David calling me back to say, aren't you going to apply for this job in Lexington?
The smartest thing I ever did.
Well, the smartest thing I ever did. And to those days when I was running out of school to lacrosse games and all that, and Flo and Renee and Phyllis kind of, you know, would give me something to do that the next day because I didn't have time to plan, to all my teammates at Hastings who just kind of kept me young. I mean, I feel like all the people that I've worked with sort of gave me this energy to want to do what they were doing or to learn something new. And it's really been, to listen to everybody is just like, just hearing what you gave to me. And I'm glad that you felt that I gave that back to you. But you really have given me. I've loved teaching. I've had a really hard year this year. But I'm going to finish out the next 2 weeks. Although I've got the ball. I love the job. I didn't think of it as a job I thought of it as a job this year. For most of these years, it's been something that I just really got a lot back from, and that community that gave a lot back. And I'm just really, really happy that I did that. And I am looking like this is another stage of my life. I mean, there is a completion part here, but the excitement about what's next, and I'm looking to all my retired friends to, like, really seriously to, give me some advice. And I probably won't see you at Hastings next year because I don't think I'll be able to do it. But after that, you never know. And if you have, I just hope people will keep in touch, because I would love to do that. Because you're all my real friends. I mean, the thing I'm going to miss is this community. And I know that. I know that it's going to be, that's what I'm going to miss. But you all have been really good listeners. And I like that. I'm going to show my class a little picture. Can somebody that's doing this come up here and just go like this to take a picture? You can do whatever you want to do. But you just look so awesome when I stand here and look at you. That it's just really awesome. And I also, now I'm looking and I'm seeing people that worked really in my classroom, aside from my teammates, the IAs that are here. I mean, you're really special to me. I felt like you were my children, and now you've got your own jobs, and you're all grown up, and it's like very exciting.